Let's talk about a man named Josh Kaufman, an American businessman and entrepreneur who's accomplished a lot of different awesome things in his life. His insights have helped many Fortune 500 CEOs and employees improve their business understanding and company operation. People who have master's degrees from top business universities, by sharing with them things they never understood or saw in new perspectives on business and business models. I'm talking about Josh today because he wrote a book called The Personal MBA. If you're in business or want to know more about business, I highly advise you look at Kaufman's work because it's brilliant. But what's even more empowering and brilliant to me is his mindset about business school and master's programs. You see, Josh first started writing and compiling the information for the Personal MBA as a young man because while he had an undergraduate degree in business, he didn't feel like he was aptly prepared for the corporate workforce. Therefore, he scoured through various books and newly formed online business forums, wanting to learn as much as he could about business and the cutting edge new strategies people were using to succeed. This was so important to him because since he was joining such a large company, most of the people he'd be working with would have master's degrees, something that's a step above the bachelor's degree he has, from some of the most prestigious business schools in the country. And, most importantly, because he found it fun. It was fun to him, and he was obsessed with learning as much as he could and simplifying the world of business for others. That's exactly how I am with psychology, and is why I've fallen in love with evolutionary psychology in particular. It holds all the keys to the real world application of psychological principles for real world benefit, which is what interests me the most about psychology. Just like he acknowledges that there is value in master's programs, I too see the value in doctorates and master's programs in psychology. Not in terms of certifications to chase your dreams to be a therapist and or medical practitioner, but it's also because you can learn so much information and practical information about the human mind and body. But the difference for me is I simply don't care about the random BS we learn that's impractical for real world use. I care about cause and effect. How certain behaviors and triggers can elicit specific emotions and physiological responses on a subconscious level. How a single trait or traits can make someone very successful in one field and very unsuccessful in another. But just like Josh built a personal MBA in business through days of research and experience, allowing people to get a first rate business education and understanding that's even better than a master's program they'd pay thousands for. That's exactly what I'm doing for you here with evolutionary psychology. Because now that I have a full macro understanding of these things, I'm able to read and predict people's actions and thought processes, know what strategies are BS and which ones are useful and powerful, and elicit the reactions or behaviors I want out of the people in front of me. And it's all due to evolutionary psychology. Because I understand how our ancestors lived, what life was like for them, and how certain situations make men and women feel. I'm able to tell what someone is feeling internally in any given interaction, and I know how to get them to feel a certain way from that given point, if I want to. But I'm not special. My real world experience testing different ideas and frameworks in the real world has shown me what's true about human and animal behavior and how useful evolutionary theory is. How useful evolutionary theory is. So, I have a deep urge to share my insights with you all so you too can get what you want out of life using psychology. Remember, when putting my practices in action, realize that while I may discuss certain tips and tricks that will help you automatically get better results or help you in certain scenarios, the changes I really want to see in you are internal ones, mainly habits, mindsets, and better mental frameworks so you perceive yourself and your place in the world differently. It takes time and consistent, conscious mental effort to form these adult masculine and feminine traits and habits that will allow you to succeed in life. The people who have great, fulfilling lives are those who have reached a point of emotional maturity and those who have found what internal strength means to them. Yes, there are some traits and behaviors that are objective to internal strength. In other words, universal. But there are also some traits and behaviors that are subjective to internal strength, meaning individual and customizable based on your moral compass and beliefs. If you're a man, I want you to have a frame. In other words, mental state and world outlook where you're emotionally unshakable and happily, confidently pursuing greatness in life while looking for other men and friends who align with your drive and mindset. If you're a woman, I want you to have a frame where you're grateful for the things and people you have in life, but are still hungry to find and be around the best people you can find for your own unique interests, desires, and world outlook. For your own unique desires and interests and world outlook. Okay? For men and women, this is what will make your physiology, body, and genes happy. Obviously, this is very specific, and some of you are probably in a headspace that is not conducive to success right now. So book a one-on-one call ASAP so I can give you my frameworks for getting into the correct headspace so we can shortcut this process for you and get you into a growth mindset. If you follow along with my teachings and upcoming videos, just like me, you'll see that understanding yourself and others through evolutionary psychology is truly life-changing. Later.